Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the ISIS short shifter again. I've had this thing for about a year and it's been great. It's been shifting awesome. I like it better than the factory. It still shifts great. However, there are a few problems after driving on it for a year. One of them is the common rattle that you get as soon as you install a shifter. This rattle is prevalent at high RPMs. I fixed that by taking the little counterweight off and putting some RTV in there, sliding it back on. But there's also another rattle that developed that I have a feeling it also has something to do with the slack in the shifter also. There's some play in the shifter. So today we're just going to take apart the shifter, see what's wrong with it, see if we can fix it, and then put it back together and see if we can get it back to how it was when I first bought it. I still think this is a great shifter for $100. I really don't think you can beat it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take this apart. Obviously the first step is going to be to take the shifter out of the car. If you don't know how to do that, you can look at my installation video, and from there you can see how to take it apart. I show you how to take apart the stock one, so yeah, you can pull this out. It's pretty easy. Link to that video right here, and let's get started. Now that you have that shifter out, let's take it apart and see if we can fix it. Alright, well here we have the shifter outside of the car. If you look carefully, I can show you the slack that I was talking about. If you pay attention to the shift knob, you can turn the whole assembly like this, and that's not supposed to be happening. And also, the whole assembly kind of moves up and down like that, and that's not supposed to happen either. So we can go ahead and take this apart, and we're gonna see if we can fix it. So to take this apart, it seems pretty simple. There's 4 hex screws on the top, so just get an Allen wrench, go ahead and take those out. Okay, the 4 screws are out. Okay, now that those are out, you can carefully take this out and pull the shifter assembly out. Okay. Now as you can see, mine is covered in grease. That is because I put grease on here beforehand. So I'm gonna take a second to clean all this up. Alright, when we take this apart, you can kind of see how the shifter works. Focus. Okay, so you have this cup that sits in there, and then the shifter sits on top of the cup. Now, okay, you can see from here where we're getting our play from. It's right there. Let me see if I can get you a better shot of this. Okay, so this play, this turning sideways play that we're getting, is from here. If you can see, this pin that's actually on the shifter isn't an exact fit for that channel that it's sitting in, so it's turning this way and this way. So that's one of the little vibrations or shifts that we can get rid of. Okay, so what we're gonna do is make a sleeve. One up. Okay, so what we're gonna do is make a sleeve that fits over here. and that sleeve is gonna widen that pin so that it doesn't move around in here. Now, kind of random, but this is the best that I have found to work. This is just some generic mechanical pencil or pen from Staples, and what we're going to be using is this. So take this off, throw that away, throw that away. This is what we need. Now, this fits on here perfectly, does not move around at all. The only problem is that it doesn't fit in here perfectly. So all we're going to need to do is sand down the sleeve a little bit. So get some sandpaper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand down one side and then sand down the exact opposite side to kind of give it a squarish shape so that it sits in there perfectly and doesn't move around a lot. And that's just about perfect. Sweetness. Okay, so now that we have that taken care of, we need to cut this in half so we have one for each side. And all I'm going to do is use a razor blade. Now what we need to do, just take your sleeve, slide it on there, slide it on there. Okay, so now that we have our sleeves on, we're pretty much, we're really close to being done. I went ahead and put this thing back on. Not a big deal, you just slide it back over. Okay, one thing you have to be sure of is the sleeves shouldn't be touching the shaft like that, otherwise this cup won't sit in here properly. So just slide these sleeves out a little bit, and then slide the cup over. Make sure the cup is touching that metal piece, and then just squeeze the sleeves back on there. Okay, yeah, now, let me flip this over. You just take your shifter plate and place everything in there. Just slide in smoothly. Okay, and now you can see the play is very minimal. It's not even really there, so that's awesome. One more thing we can do to improve this. Okay, these springs that are were in the shifter, they're seated on a screw. So I have these O-rings. I'm basically just gonna put the O-ring on top of the screw and then put the spring on top of the O-ring. And what that's going to do is that's going to minimize the vibration between the spring and the screw, and it's also going to raise the height of the spring so that it has more compression, meaning the shifter will be stiffer. So go ahead and do that to both O-ring and then put the spring on top. Alright. And now we're pretty much done. All we have to do is move this back up. Great. And put this in here. Okay. Put this one on this side. Like that. And we can now put the top plate back on. as you can see, no rotational play, no up and down play. It's really stiff. Something you're gonna have to get used to. If you put the O-rings on at the bottom, it's gonna be really stiff. I personally like that, but you know, if you don't like the stiffness of the shifter, then you can always take those O-rings out. So there you have it. That's pretty much what you need to do to repair any kinks with the ISIS shifter. This is a really good shifter. Like I said, I still recommend it. For $100, you can't really beat it. So there you have it. Enjoy your new shifter.